So the official introduction to Rosemary, before I give you the unofficial one, is that Dr. Rosemary McCallum is a renowned change catalyst, giving you the scientific know-how and the tangible skills to elevate your attitude and create a future of choice. She's passionate about helping a movement of entrepreneurs that are expressing their purpose through their business, resulting in evolutionary change in the lives of people. Dr. Rosemary is a published author, renowned speaker, and a master visionary. She has professional eminence and qualifications including a doctorate in metaphysics, behavioural sciences, and a lifetime of integration of these philosophies. Now, every time I talk about Rosemary, I can never explain to people exactly what she does. I actually say to them, you just have to trust me.
I can't explain either, darling, when you say what I do.
Yeah. And we met a couple of years ago, and I was besotted by her presentation in front of 150 people that were there, and we became friends since then. So, so having her, work with me as well as do these things for us, and and we add value to each other's lives. It's been wonderful. So please give her the biggest round of applause.
Thanks, sweetheart. Now, I brought notes and I'll put them down because it won't go any further than that. So tonight we're going to share some things about becoming. But before we do that, because you've all done your very formal introductions and you stand there and go, God, what am I going to say? And when you do that, and I sound impressionable, you just go, I don't know what I'm going to say. I won't tell you what I said at one networking because he's recording. Can I say it? You have to delete it.
Okay.
Okay, when you go to network meetings and they go, oh, John, come back. Okay, George, now. And I thought, I'm going to be really irreverent and nasty. So the next time I went, such and such, come back. Interesting surname. John, George, now. I said, is that short for something? And he said, National Australia Bank. I said, well, I'm not surprised with a surname like that you do shorten it down to now. And he said, what? And he said, so who are you? You have to believe this. I just went up and I took his hand and I said, Dr. Rosemary McCallum, head fucker. And he went, I said, oh, sorry, doesn't that explain what I do? So we get a bit official, don't we, on our titles and all the rest of it. So, it's slightly irreverent and slightly bad, and I've just come back on retreat with 70 more bad people than me, and that was enough to keep people under control, and I lost my voice trying to keep them under control. So I went into lockdown and didn't talk to anyone, which is amazing for one day for me not to talk. But before I start, what I'd love you to do, now that you've got all the officialness out of the way, I would like you to turn to somebody you don't know and tell them why they are so lucky that you're sitting next to them. 3 awesome things about yourself. 3 See how much more energy you've got from telling each other 3 awesome Alright, my awesome people. That's far more interesting than this other things, isn't it? So you feel your energy lift when you say that. So when you get into introducing yourself, especially in stuffy circles, make sure that you've got something amazing. Has anyone ever heard of Zark? Zark? Zark wrote How to Be a Succulent Wild Woman. Isn't that the best title ever? And the whole thing was written in coloured pencils, the whole book. She's just amazing, Zark. She's so funny. She runs Camp Zark. She's got play journals for adults and all the rest of it. And she's getting into this lift one day, and she's thinking about expansion, because can you feel that you're expanded now? Can you feel that you're settling in? The person next to you, isn't that scary? And then new best friends and all sorts of things. And she's getting into this lift, and this shows the door, and Zark's just way out there in the sky, and she goes, "Wow! I love your energy," to this guy in the lift. And she says, "How do you get it like that?" And without blinking an eye, he goes, "I am so in love with myself." And she goes, "Well, I'm going to be in love with myself too." Because here's a clue, guys, no one else is. No one else is going to love you the way you need to love you to expand your energy. So I told this to my class, and so one of my alchemy students went to work. So I'm going to do that the next day, and she works for truckies. So come in, they go, "Hey, Jules." "Yeah, hello, Jules. Early in the morning. How are you today, love?" She'll stand up and go, "I'm so in love with myself." And the guy goes, "Oh my God. It's going to be a long day." So when you bring your energy up, you actually bring your purpose up. There is a wonderful saying by Seth Godin, and I'm going to not paraphrase, I'm going to actually say what he wrote, because I could make up anything and come out. And he says, "In order to monetize your work, you probably corrupt it, taking out of the magic in searching for dollars." It can become hard, can't it? It can be really hard. You've got this passion in you that you want to explode out into the world. How many of you know why you've got the passion? I don't. It's just there. There is nothing I can tell you why it's there. It's just there, and it drives me. It's a passion that drives me. It's not something I elected, I can assure you. I was having a very nice lifestyle buying shoes for the universe. Thought this was a really cool idea to do all of this. So it didn't come to me that I wanted to do anything. It's just this passion that had to be expressed, and I think that's what's in you. How you express it is totally irrelevant. You are not what you do. You are not a coach. You're not a producer. You're not a writer even. You are passion, using that as a vehicle to express itself. Does that make sense? And when you start to learn that, you won't be worried about the dollar, because you're getting paid in what we call energy counts. And the more energy that you build, law of reciprocity, got that out without mucking it up, that usually goes badly, it must pay you back. Do you understand what I mean? When you're moving forward, who's had a really good day, a really, really great day, and you go, "Wow, they just went, was in flow, now they've had a good day, spat out a baby." Yeah, she was in flow, got it out, felt really good afterwards. And you're just in flow, and you get to the end of the day and you go, "Holy crap, it happened so fast, didn't it?" That's because you're on purpose. And I want to talk about that tonight more than anything, about being on purpose. And purpose comes from the knowingness of not knowing. That's the universal sort of jargon. They talk stupid. The knowingness of not knowing. Because when you aren't knowing so much, you're not dictating. Does that make sense? You're just going on the vehicle, work through me, work through me. I've got no idea what we're talking about tonight, but it'll work fine. It'll have something to do with the title. We'll bring it back to the title eventually. But so we're going to talk about intention. all got a brain. Yeah, it's that spaghetti bit in your head, and then it's got a useless looking nub like that. It's our everything, the nub, they call it. Or the reptilian brain, and then you've got the spaghetti bit on the top, and then you've got the thing that looks like a baboon's bottom on the bottom. That's the cerebellum. And they are very important parts of you that make you work. But they're not your purpose. And when you're trying to reason your purpose, that's when you're going to get into deep doo-doo. Does that make sense? So everything you do is an intention. An intention means to get ready to do. If I asked one of you to stand up, did you realise there's at least 200 thoughts have to go through your mind just for that little process? First thing your brain says, toes spread. And then it slowly comes up. You know, watching a little baby learn to pull itself up and whatnot is where you start to really see the brain process that goes through that. But you're on such automatic pilot, you just stand up. You haven't given it a thought that you've actually made an intention. So intention says get ready to do. And then it says that part of you is your mind energy. That has to communicate with your body energy. They're two really quite separate, which makes for life a little bit difficult because each one's trying to dominate the other. So, and it says it signals energy to be on note. Get ready, we're about to create. Who's creative in the room? Everyone stick their hands up. Because you've managed to create the life that you've got right now. Every thought is an act of creativity. Every thought has a potential to carry you to the stars or put you in the depths. Every thought. Every thought holds enough nuclear energy in it to implode or explode. One or the other. You are such a little medical nuclear factory in there that it's amazing. So intention can come in two forms when you start your business. One can usually is because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Anyone had been sick and tired, been sick and tired? Yeah. You know? Anybody ever had their foot nailed to the floor and you go, you know, I'm really going to go and break out and I'm really going to do something. I'm going to do it, I'm telling you, I'm ready to go, but somehow that foot's nailed to the floor. And the intention's there, but there's no energy to follow through with it. Can anyone tell me why that isn't so? Anyone got any idea?
Self-doubt.
Yeah, self-doubt. And it comes back to, we were talking, Nat was talking about the other night, and it could have gone into a very long discussion, so we shut up, into the six core needs. Okay? And, give it an S. And of course, the first one, with rubber, you'll have to excuse me, I'm actually dyslexic, so if you're melancholy temperament, you write things wrong on the board, just come up and change it. I won't be offended, because you're going to sit there and go, she wrote that wrong. And you're not going to hear another word I've got to say. Okay? So don't upset the Mellies. The same ones wouldn't give a rip, but Mellies get out of sight. Okay? So, certainty. We need some certainty in our life, don't we? Absolutely. But did you realise that too much certainty creates boredom? And boredom leads to depression. Okay? I love depression. I think it's grass. Don't tell me why depression's grass. Someone comes to me that they're depressed, they can wobble. Woohoo! That's exciting. And they go, why? And I said, because now we can start changing your thinking. Basically, all depression says is the energy has run out of the thoughts that you're trying to use. That's all it is. It is a gift. It is not a mental disease. It is not something that you have to drug. It is something that it is the brain and the body saying, we're ready to change. That's what it's about. It's putting you on notice that we're ready to change, and it's one of the most amazing dynamics, and you will find so much of yourself in that black place. So when we start to change our attitude towards a natural thing, it is natural for us to go like that when we have too much certainty. So the thing is, when we have to shift must come through the chaos. It cannot come anyway. There will be no change unless there's chaos, because it's the mother of necessity. Okay? It means it puts the universe, someone spell that for me? Yes, oh, that doesn't. That upset you? Oh well, there you go. It puts the universe on notice we're ready to create. We're ready to put energy in it. So when we come into uncertainty, we are in the richest time of creation. We have available to us every part of the universe to start collapsing down a new quantum field based on focus and intention, to collapse it down and create a new world moving away from certainty. So we've moved up the ladder. Now we're a little bit scared. Scared is good. Who gets scared? Scared is good. Depression is good. Repeat that after me. Depression is good. Scared is better. Scared says, I can exercise courage and bravery. Okay? You can't do that in certainty. Impossible. So it says I can exercise courage and bravery. Courage to be of the heart. And unless you're scared, you can't be brave. It's impossible. So when your child's scared, you go, fantastic, moment for growth. Make what I do with the little ones when they come in, they're scared, we design superhero outfits together. And they name who they're going to be. And we said, Mum, go get your superhero outfit made up. And you know, they might come in as lightning Jack next time, and you're scared? Yeah, hell yeah, let's go with this. You're scared, that's outstanding. Time for bravery. We've been taught good and bad, yeah? Would you agree with that? Here, there is no good or bad. They're just, it's probably not good to kill people, I would say, but there is no good or bad in amongst all of that. There just is. It's what we assign it to that directs it. So, anyone heard of an ego? No one exists? No people with one? Myself. I'm so glad, because if you didn't have one, you would be fairly scary. You actually wouldn't get out of bed because you need ego to cross the road. So I like to call ego, this is my ego, stay on there and be nice. I call ego energy. I'm a very bad spelling day today. I'll get it where it's spelled correctly. I'll take a piece of paper. Energy gravitating outwards. That is what ego is. Ego runs your physical body. Its intent is to serve the most dominant thought. It is the servant of the mind, and it serves the most dominant thought. So whatever the dominant thought is, ego gravitates towards it, expands it, and puts it in your face. So if you are scared, which most narcissists are, anyone ever met a narcissist? They're good fun, aren't they? No, not narcissists. We have a lot of fun with them. The reason they're doing that is because they're incredibly frightened. So that they push their energy out to try and make themselves bigger in the fear of someone actually seeing them. So there are no bad people, there's just people who don't understand who they are. So energy gravitating outwards will serve the dominant thought. Ego is responsible for you to take action. If you don't have ego, you're not going to take any action. Ego requires action, which allows that energy to flow out. So what happens is we move through certainty to uncertainty, and we come to significance. Has anyone ever met somebody that needs significance?
Me.
Heaping it on you, girl. There you go. Well, I've got some clients that need significance. And there's sometimes, I'm sure you all don't feel this. Sometimes when you look at the phone, you go, not today. So I'm not talking to you today. Significance comes very, very early in childhood at around about 2. 18 months to 2, when a child goes into what's called counter-dependence. Up until that time, the child is codependent. You can always tell where there's a wounding in a person's age by their behaviour. Rebels are always, you're dealing with a toddler. If you're dealing with codependence, you're dealing with an infant. If you're dealing with independence, you're dealing with a preschooler. If you've got someone who's cannot relate, most of it stops there, but someone who's good at interdependence has a well-rounded integrated school child. So all of those endances happen through certain ages. And once we understand that with our clients, we can see where the source of their problem is. So if they're coming to you and they're rebellious and not doing what you're doing, they're doing the 2-year-olds. Anyone seen a 2-year-old? Mm-hmm. Heard they exist? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the point of a 2-year-old is a 2-year-old actually has to break from mum. And that's where the counter-dependence comes in. Notice most 2-year-olds are good for everybody else except mum. Yeah. You know, and so I've always been a little angel. You go, someone abducted my child and replaced it and put it back again. So it's in this stage that ego starts to develop, at 2 years old. Up into Stu and Nat's little bub, little Zara, she's symbiotically bonded to mum and dad at this age. She feels everything they feel. So this is where you get a lot of addictions for drinking, smoking, eating. If you've got those with your clients, go look at their baby. Because that's about soothing and nurturing. Okay, so you go straight to that spot and see what's going on in there. So our ego begins to develop and we start to look for significance. And unfortunately, we never grow out of that sometimes. And when we're looking for significance all the time, we have to drain it from other people because we can't produce it ourselves. So it's called energy vampiring. Anyone met an energy vampire? Sort of sit there and they put the stuff on, and they walk away, and you're like, oh my God, like that. And they'll do it in all sorts of ways. You know, the walking rain clouds that come in and go, how are you today? And you go, I'll kill myself, I've asked how you are today. You know, so should never have asked how you were. And they go out feeling great and you feel crap. You had that? So that's all coming down through these energy exchanges that they've never learned to look at. Because we're told that everybody has to be happy. There is a happy sickness out there. What do you want? I just want to be happy. What would make you happy? Money. How much money? I don't know. What if all the money went again? I've been unhappy. Okay. All right. So this is the mentality that we've produced. We haven't taught people to be passionate about who they are. And that's what I want you to do, guys. If you teach your clients anything, is to have them to be passionate about who they are becoming, not what they do. Because these problems are all created from doing, not being. Okay? And we're in a doing epidemic. So as we start to move through it, we've gone from certainty, then we move to love and connection. Most people who are in love and connection are carers. They're insidious. Anyone know a carer? Anyone been a carer? That would be me. Now, carers have to find weak people, don't they? And the whole purpose is to be very helpful. And that is not helping the butterfly out of the cocoon at all. So it's learning tough love. You know, what do you think you can do about it? Okay, come back to me when you've sourced out what you think you can do about it. It's empowering people. And we've got to start that right from around about 2 years old to do that. You know, there wasn't a manual. Anyone seen a manual for raising kids? You seen a manual for having kids. And then we move up, and those four, so we've got certainty, uncertainty, we've got significance, and we've got love and connection. Those four are all to do with your human energy. They're all part of your human system. Connection is vital for humans because we're tribes. Connection is also vital because we're all one. So when we're separated, when we're in independence, that's when you get people who do strange things. Because they're not part of the tribe, so they're isolated. And then they become resentful and go and shoot up a school. So it's very important to understand these are necessary for you. You need all of them. And I'll show you this in the diagram in a moment. You then you move into growth, which moves you into spiritual. And growth can become a drug. It can become, an absolute drug to be on that journey. I know I've experienced it. when, you know, nothing else matters. You know, the cat just vomited. That doesn't matter. I'm going to a seminar, you know. Or you become a seminar junkie. Anyone know any of those? And it's the next best thing. That's going to be the answer. The answer's going to be in the next best thing. So while we need to expand our energy, we need to also contract it and expand it, not try and keep expanding it out all the time, because basically, eventually, you will nuke your body. I've seen quite a few gurus who work with energy who are now fried. And I'm talking fried, you know, and they shake like this and whatnot because they've burnt all their nerve endings from wanting to be up in that higher frame of energy all the time. You simply cannot do it. You visit it, come back down, okay? And then we have, then the last one is contribution. Now, contribution has to be in its purest form for it to be healthy for you again. If contribution is, I'm doing this because I'm a really nice person, so why haven't I said thank you? That's going to cause you illness. It's going to cause you resentment. Sometimes you see these great gurus and they end up dying of cancer. Cancer is the energy of resentment. So that in contributing, in the process, they lost themselves. And this is really important for you, especially if you're just starting out, is don't lose yourself. I had no boundaries. Ring me anytime. And they did at 2 in the morning and things like that. You know, so, because I was young and stupid 25 years ago, now I've got really rigid boundaries. It's 5 o'clock. I don't care. If you want to kill yourself on Friday night, do it quietly. They know that. That's the law. Do it quietly. You're going to kill yourself when you're cat food. None of them kill themselves. When they're telling you they're going to kill themselves, that's never going to happen. I can assure you. That's attention seeking. Alrighty. Anyone got any thoughts so far? Anybody go, oh my God, this woman's insane. See, Nat? Let me loose on them now.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at how energy goes. Here, who's never had a negative thought?
Me.
Who's heard that one? Negative thoughts are bad. We must kill them. Anyone heard that one? Okay. Let's have a look at energy. Energy moves like this. Would you agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Energy moves in waves. It depends on where you are vibrationally as to how fast that energy moves. Anyone ever heard go the straight and narrow path? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the straight and narrow path. It's exactly the same energy, but the energy is condensed. If you get up closer here, that's little waves. Okay? What this is what we call Hertzian energy here. This is the lowest form of energy. Everything on Earth is measured in hertz, gigahertz, megahertz, light hertz. Okay? So, the ability to start here and manifest here can take lifetimes. Okay? Because the energy is revenge and honor. It's dense energy. How many times you have a day where you felt like you were moving through mud? That's when you're down in this dense energy. But it's a really good training ground for you to come into. So we've heard the straight and narrow road, and we've also heard that one of the Beatles sang a song, It's a Long and Winding Road. Yeah? One of them, I don't know which one, but one of them sang it. This is what I want you to understand about energy. How hard do you think it would be to be one-legged on grass, rollerblading? It'd be, you can't have a stick. No stick, it'd be tricky, wouldn't it? You think you might fall off. I'm not demonstrating. I'm not demonstrating. I assure you. It'd be a little bit tricky? Okay. Okay. So sometimes what we're trying to do when we're trying to be positive all the time, we're one-legged rollerbladers. Just keep that in your mind. Because you cannot have light without shadow. You must have the polarity. If you didn't, you would all be dead. All the plants would be dead. If it was total sunshine all the day, or it was total darkness all the day, you'd be dead. So we have to have light and shade. And I want to show you why. Who's ever had the mountaintop experience? You know, you're all one with the world. Like this. You're having that euphoric moment. And then the gas bill comes in. Or someone rings you that you don't like. And then somehow you've fallen off your little mountaintop and you've gone right back down under here, haven't you?
Burst the balloon.
Right into that, and that can be all of 3 seconds. You know, there's no law about this. It can be all of 3 seconds. It's the same as when we're looking at the energy vibration of 7 energy levels. Everybody goes, wow, I'm going to get to 0 point. Yeah, good luck with that. And I'm going to stay there. Nah, you'll be back down here as soon as someone looks at you and puts their finger up. You'll be back down there. But you're back doing it. We're constantly moving up and down the energy scales. Don't think you have to arrive anywhere. The point is to see how comfortable it is in the energy that you're sitting in, and if it's uncomfortable, get off the nail and go up to the next level. That's all it's about. It's no grand scheme. You know, they've made this sound more complicated than walking to Mars. It's not complicated. So what happens is that you fall, and I'm going to ask for volunteers to start looking at the ground and going, God, I hope she doesn't. Okay, we fall down to here, and this is our crisis point, and this is opportunity. This is what it's all about. When a rollerblader moves, they push off from each leg, don't they? You know, I'm told, you'll never get me a rollerblade. They push off from each leg, we create some friction, the friction creates heat, it sticks the rollerblade, so I'm told, to the ground, and off you go and you start moving forward. So at a crisis point, we've got 2 choices. We can stay there certain that we're going to die, because that's where your brain defaults to. Do you know that? I'm going to die. So you might as well just get that out of the way. Next time you have a crisis, say, yep, we're going to die. And then it's over and done with, you know. We've arrived, we understand we're going to die, cool. What happens is this, your spaghetti bit, the neocortex, which is called the architect, it thinks in binary. It goes, will I? Won't I? Will I? Who's had those conversations? No. Won't I? There's a committee in there. I have the whole UN in my head. Will I? Won't I? Because I'm a Libra and that makes it even worse. You know, and so we've got this stupid conversation going on there, but it's responsible for 99% of your choices. That's a little bit scary because ultimately it wants to keep you safe. That's its job. You know, you go, I'm going to do such and such. It says, hang on a minute, it's a little hiling man out. Oh no, that ended badly. Let's try and do that. Maybe on the 5th of October in 1952, oh no, we're not going to do that. And it stops it. And it stops it going through the brain, through an area called the caudate neuron. Here's your silly spaghetti bits. Here's your cerebellum. Here's your nub. And there's an area there called the caudate, which acts like a gateway. And that will only filter through things that this tells it it's had an experience from. And it tells it that by having a neural pathway. Neural pathway. So let's imagine that this is an electricity factory, and this is the chemical factory of mass destruction, or maybe building up factory, and this is the security guard. So how many of you have ever tried to give up an addiction? Don't have to put your hand up to tell me what it is. I've given up eating numerous times. It doesn't work. But how often do you say, I'm going to be really good, and I'm going to be really good and really good, and then something triggers it, and I don't know how that glass got in my hand. I didn't put it there, and that's not my empty bottle of wine. and you don't even know how you got there, because what's happened is you've had a way of responding in the past, so that bypasses your thinking mind, and just goes there, get the glass, and it's in your hand, and you're like mesmerised, drink me, like Alice, you know. So what we have to do is reframe the brain, and we have to trick it into thinking that we've always done this. So if you want to change a habit, now I wanted to desperately give up sugar. I was an incredible sugar addict. I was worse than a heroin addict. I thank God for 7-Eleven stores. That's all I could say. And when I couldn't find anything, I'd eat jam sandwiches, and I hate them with a passion. But I was absolutely addicted to sugar. Where did that come from? From my childhood. No sweetness in my life. So whatever your addiction is, it has a message with it, okay? So I would reach for sugar when I felt unloved, which was 99% of the time, and I felt unloved or I felt unheard, I'd reach for the sugar. So one of the first things I decided, I never teach my clients anything that I don't experiment on. I'm a real laborer. I experiment on myself. So what I learned was, you have to reframe for the neocortex. You have to say to the neocortex, for as long as I can remember. And he goes, really? Yeah, it's always been this way. Sure, yep, for as long as I can remember. So what I did was, for as long as I can remember, I've never eaten sugar. I just took it over the edge a little bit too much, and I said, sugar does not resonate with my body. That possibly was a bad choice to do. Doesn't matter. It's always been this way, for as long as I can remember. I am sugar-free. I am that. I am. So now on the odd occasion, when there's sugar in something, my tongue blisters. I get a bodily reaction to it, because this is where you taste sweet, and that all blisters. So I always know when there's sugar in something, which is good fun. And drinking a cappuccino before a speech does not work because my tongue swells. And I like that. And it's not really cool. So in doing that, when you say I am to something, you become frequency specific. You say I am dumb, I am stupid, I am broke, I am unhappy, I am depressed. You must become frequency specific because it's the name of creation. Does that make sense, guys? So, let's have a look at why the darkness is really good. You are driven by one thing and one thing only. Can anyone tell me what that is?
Love.
No.
Staying alive.
Staying alive, yeah. So it's, and how do you stay alive?
Breathe.
That does help. Let's get rid of the usual suspects. Water, air, sex, yes, sex, sleep, and shelter are the basic needs.
Yeah. Purpose.
Purpose. Mm-hmm. And what is purpose? It's testing the brain centre. Please keep going because you're not wrong. You're all right. We just got it in the wrong context. Okay? Yeah, you've got a purpose, but what is the purpose doing? Can anybody tell me what it's doing?
Motivation.
Yes, motivation. Yeah. Doing all those things. Yeah. Do you know what it's doing at a basic level?
Ego. Ego?
No, ego serving it.
Creating action.
It's creating an action. You don't do anything unless it meets a need. That's what drives you. And if you don't know what your intrinsic needs are, you don't know your driver. For me, there's three major drivers, and everybody has lots of fun with this. One is challenge, one is lifestyle, one is no better than the other, so it's not in order, and one is family. Each of these have a set of need criteria around them. Once you know what your driver is, the driver of your needs, that's your purpose. And you use your business or whatever you do as a vehicle to meet that. And when you do that and you're doing it on your own and you're not expecting everybody else to do it for you, you are powerful beyond all measure. Is that your big why? That's your big why. To live your purpose. Absolutely. So here is a need down here, and where we usually find our needs is here. You don't actually find them up here. Do you realise there's not much creative energy up there? It's like high atmosphere. Not much oxygen in it. So who would love to, I promise I won't embarrass you. All right, okay, well, saw Faye first. Faye, what need are you meeting by doing your business? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right, have a think. Don't want to put you on the spot. If anyone
Creating
has
self-worth.
self-worth, self-worth is interesting. That's created through values. Needs would be appreciation, acceptance. There's a heck load of them. And needs create self-esteem. Okay, self-worth is created through values, right? And this is what we're not taught, are we? We're not taught the fundamentals of the engine that actually drives us, which is energy. And if children were taught this in school, can you imagine the amazing children we would have? So let's go with, think about where you've come from. What wasn't getting met there?
For me,
Yeah, for you personally. Because I know your story, so what wasn't, what
love.
Okay, let's put that on the side, that's a chestnut.
Respect.
Respect. Okay, that's a good one. Right, respect. Respect is a need for some people. For other people, they don't give a rip. Okay? And this is why it's very important as couples, Jane, is to work out their needs. Okay? But then if they both have the same need, what you do is you sit them down and you get them to talk for 2 minutes about what that need means to them. I will guarantee you it's not the same. And then they fight. Because, well, I'm giving you appreciation, but they're giving it how they want it, not how the other things. Needs are vital. It's what you stand on rock. And you know, and if you're going to say, oh, I need to be selfless, that's selfish, yes. Right.
Could you just elaborate a little bit on the difference or the distinction between values and
I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you this. Okay? A need is fundamental. It sets your emotions. Needs drive emotions. Okay? So, how does it feel when it's not met for you? Okay?
Disappointed.
Okay. Now, I just want you to close your eyes for me. Don't worry about the room full of people. Just ignore that. Just be present with your feeling.
Sad.
Yep.
Hurt.
Just slow down a bit, really feel it. Sad, hurt. And when you're hurt, get into your heart, not into your head. How does that feel when you are hurt?
Angry.
Okay, anger is, let's move past anger, put that to the side. How does it feel? Can you feel your guts churning as you're talking to me? Yeah, and your heart's gone. Yeah. What's that word beneath it?
Don't know.
Okay, just sit with the hurt. Let's come back up again. Keep your eyes shut. You feel, when you're not respected, you feel disappointed. And when you're disappointed, it makes you get into the feeling. It makes you feel sad.
Sad. Yeah.
And when you're sad, can you feel how sad is moving through you now? Feel it move through you. When you're sad, you feel hurt. You feel it in your throat. You can feel it there now. When you're hurt, how does that feel?
Resentful.
Go put that to the side. Back in the hurt, sad. Just
Lonely.
lonely. Let's see. How's that feel? Lonely. Does that feel crap?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it feel scary?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got your eyes. Well done. Let's give her a hand. Okay. So you can feel it. Your guts was churning. Your throat was hurting. Your heart was cramping. Okay. In that. So you're sitting present in that. The more the emotional pull, the more the energy, the deeper the pain. Can you understand that? Now, why I said put anger to the side and resentment, I don't call them emotions, I call them states of being. Okay? You're not angry because you're angry. Do you understand me? You're angry because of. You're resentful because of. You're happy because of. Never ever, if your clients go angry, just say go underneath that. Anger is a protection. It's designed to help you defend yourself. Okay? So it very easily gets mucked up. See how we got into hurt, and anger thought it would pop its head up because you were feeling threatened. Okay? And then resentment came up because you're feeling threatened. Because lonely is the bottom, what I call the bottom of the pond. Okay? So here we are, lonely. Okay, let's go the other way. How do you feel forget everybody else? How do you feel when you respect you?
Fantastic.
And when you feel fantastic, how do you feel? Just feel that. Feel what fantastic running through your veins. You feel it's here. Okay? When you feel fantastic, how does it feel?
I can conquer the world.
So you feel courageous, okay? And when you're courageous, close your eyes, get in touch with the feeling, feel your heart chakra starting to open. When you feel courageous, how does it feel?
That I can do anything. Amazing.
Amazing. All right, can you feel how your heart chakra is expanded? Can you feel how actually you feel a bit short of breath? Because your heart chakra is staying expanded and your lungs are like, what's that? That's called air. Okay, so you feel amazing. Okay, so we're back here. As you're starting to feel amazing, as you're saying these words, your energy is expanding again, isn't it? So you're coming back up to a mountaintop experience. What got you there? What gave you that? This. Lonely gave you that gift. Okay? So lonely becomes the impetus, becomes the uncertainty that says go find yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what we're calling negative emotions, which bends my head a little bit, are what I call drop pins. Okay? You know how you get those drop pins on your map? I don't know how you get them, I just keep getting them. And I don't know how to get them off. And then I can't see where I'm going because there's all these stupid drop pins on there. So I call them drop pins. If we went digging here, if we went mining for gold here, we would write to Lonely, how old are you? Where are you? How can I help you? Okay? Because, who's heard of inner child work before? And who's heard we've got to save the poor old wounded inner child? That's the most courageous energy in your body. There's nothing wrong with them. They're markers where you put aside your original self aside and took on roles to please other people. Yeah, Greg.
If you're in the depths and
Yeah.
lonely,
Yeah.
is the peace connection, and
Yeah.
are we oscillating between the two?
Yeah, we've got to. Think about the pushing off. Growth comes through chaos, yeah? So this centre here, this little here, and it's a dad, you might get to there, and there you might be angry, and you move up again. But this vacuum here that these create is pure possibility. It's where are you going to put your focus? That's what's happening here. So what happens is, when we get to lonely, lonely says, all right, I'm a marker. How can you be lonely? You're you. But we've been taught we're lonely because we should depend on someone. So how we start to move back up again is here is a need that's not being met. So how can we meet this need? We meet the need through values. Now values are funny things because values are about what you send the most energy to. Some people value being dumb. Some people value being stupid. Some people value being broke. Whatever you think about the most is what you give the highest value to. So, therefore, it must be created. It's the power of creation because it comes, value is what we call spiritual, you can't see it, it has to be acted out. Needs are feelings. So we look at a value, and maybe one of the values is courageousness. We're going, I'm going to be courageous. And your ego goes, yeah, I don't get that one. Are you kidding me? Don't think so. No, I'm going to serve the major dominant thought. I'm lonely and scared. Because that's the major dominant, there's your major dominant thought. I'm lonely, okay? So ego will serve that until you give it a new focus. And it will continue to bring lonely into your life until such time as you go, thanks, I finally got it. I'm going to go for here. So if we're going to look at courageous, what you have to give your values are what we call guiding principles. Anyone ever heard of that? Anyone work for somewhere where we have policies and procedures? Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, when we give values, policies and procedures about how you're going to use courageous, the brain must be presented a picture of action. What most people do, the universe itself must be presented a picture. The universe does not think in words. It doesn't have a little ticker tape going through your head in a word and someone's typing it. It thinks in pictures. So when you have a value, you present a picture to the universe and it's called grounding the value. When we ground a value, we have an intention and it's just a lofty thought until you give it an action. So by taking the value and giving it an action, what is one way you could use courage? Move through the fear. Yeah, move through the fear. Now get it in an action. what would you do? Is it clear?
Walk
Walk. Perfectly. How would you walk?
fast.
Fast. Determined.
Yeah.
Okay? So, first principle for you to be courageous is expressing the value of courage. I bend forward and I go head first into what I'm frightened of. I walk fast and confidently. Brain goes, I can have a picture of that, let's do it. But if you just have a thought and you don't present a picture, the brain actually can't manage it. Does that make sense, guys? So it's about thinking in pictures. The more you can put, my students have to have a minimum of 3 principles per value. And when they come to me with their dreams and their visions, the first thing is tell it to me in action. Tell it to me. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Tell me how you're looking, what are you wearing, blah, blah, blah. So we can create a picture of this. So at the weekend, one of the girls, she's very, very funny, but she was always told off all the time for being funny. She wears black all the time. I said, how can you be funny and wear black? You shouldn't wear black across your heart. Shut your heart chakra down. So I sent her out to buy, I said, what's an action you could do? And she's thinking. I could smile, yes, that's a physical action that you could do. But what's something even more dramatic that you could do? So we sent her out and I said, come back with some dramatic clothes. And nothing black. She wears black all the time. And there's nothing wrong with black, but this is a person who's wanting to achieve joy. That's why black is corporate. How joyful is corporate? So out she goes, she comes back in orange and her whole face lifts up and all the rest of it. So it's learning to give the brain the right message followed with a picture. Now the best way to do it is to walk through the action in what we call first person. Most of the time when you're visualising, you're watching you, aren't you? So your energy stream is disconnected. You're here as the observer, and you're over here as a little person. So if I'm visualising me talking to you, right now all I can see is my boobs. I so can't see my toes, and if I bend forward, and I can see my hands. So if I'm visualising, that's how I'm visualising. Can you understand that? If you're visualising the car you want, you're not looking at you going down the car. All you can see is the steering wheel and hopingly you're avoiding whatever in front of you as you're driving it. You know that you're not just staring at the steering wheel. The law of attraction has been a little bit bastardised in the way that it's been taught to you, because it's been taught about attracting money all the time. When that's the furthest thing from your mind, you want to attract energy to meet your needs. Does that make sense, guys? So, how are we going for time, Stu? Do you have to be naked yet?
Not quite.
Not quite? Oh, that's disappointing. Okay. So, I want to get you back onto understanding purpose. Greg, did that help you about the difference between needs and values?
15.
15. Okay. I know that you're all difference makers. You're in this room because you want to make a difference. Is that right? Yeah. One of the things is in wanting to make a difference is that you can expend a lot of energy in that, can't you? Yeah. What more can I do? What's the next thing? It has to be so. I must be doing something wrong. Blah, 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 blah. Who's been down that fun road? I must be doing something wrong. And what you're doing is creating a momentum. The first thing that you have to do is let all this come up. Is let all of this come up and meet it and thank it for keeping you safe. Don't be against your negative thoughts. Your negative thoughts are there to say we have a breaking connection. That's what they're there. That's all they're telling you. Just like depression is saying there's no energy left in that thinking anymore. So as soon as we start to love the negative thoughts, we say, show me what the underlying problem is. Show me how I can do that. Now you can do that very simply because it has a consciousness, because you've thought it, it now has consciousness, it will never go away. And you can simply write to it. My dearest beloved lonely. Be nice to it. Don't go, listen, Nick, right? I get out of my head to drive me insane. I mean, we had one guy that wrote to his inner child and called him his little shit. I said, that's bound to work. So, my dearest beloved lonely, I want to thank you for keeping me safe. You've got to understand they've kept you safe until you have enough life learning to go and find who you are. You have to gain wisdom for that. I've got some 12-year-olds that have got that. They're amazing. I've got some 70-year-olds that I just figure they might have another 15 lifetimes, but they'll get there eventually. But there's no race. All you're doing is playing a game of Jumanji. That's all you do. Roll the dice, move forward. There is no end. You know that, don't you? There is no end. So you're playing this game. So when you thank her, the reason it makes so much noise is because it's like a baby bird that hasn't been fed that day. It just wants you to listen to the message that has been assigned to it when you buried a part of yourself and took on a role. Who was bossy when they were little? Who got into trouble for being bossy when they were little? And what did we do? We tried to be nice. We don't have nice in our class. Nice must die. Okay? So we became nice. And all the time seething underneath, but we were nice. You know, oh, how are you? I'm nice. You know, not in control of your evolution is what nice means, okay? So if you're nice, kill it off. And we became nice and we took on a role. Because as a child, up until 13 years old, you had to get energy from your parents. And of course, most of your parents were rocket scientists. Mine were. They were amazing rocket scientists. You know, so we've got adult children who are parenting children. That's a little scary. And God bless them, my parents did the best they could. You know, they didn't have this information. We have the information. We are now accountable. They weren't. So what we do in order to get energy from our parents, which is vital for us, we not only have to kill off the brother and sister to get it, little baby, get that. So we take on roles. And this is what I want you to have a look at, is what role have you taken on that you're taking into your business which will steal every bit of energy you've got. So if we look at the role of the carer, you're going to bed fussing over how your client is and they're out having a great time. You've got the hero child who's constantly, got to do more. Here's one of them, got to do more, got to do more. Little hamster in the wheel. They die eventually, you know. That's the hero child. Then we've got the rebels. Got any of them? Yeah. You know, my ex-grandfather-in-law said, it's complicated, I know, but he said, if you're not a rebel before you're 30, there's something wrong with you. If you're a rebel after you're 30, there's definitely something wrong with you. So we have the rebels, we have the good child, who's what's known as the lost child. Oh, they never give me any trouble, and they never get seen, and then they end up being axe murderers or something. They don't have a life to get seen. So we have those. We have the surrogate spouse. That's the one that one parent will dump all the problems of the marriage on the child. We'll have surrogate parents, where the parents are childlike and the child's happy to deal with it. So they're roles that you take on in the hope of getting some energy. Now, we can go, oh my God, no wonder we're all wrecked. But there's good things about that, because in taking on a role, you learned some skills, didn't you? So, but the thing is, it's got to be a role, not an identity. Does that make sense? The same as what you're working at. It must be a role that you're playing, not your identity. If it becomes your identity, it will consume you. And you will lose yourself along the way, because the universe can't feed that. It can't get through to you, whatever it is. So, as far as I'm going, choleric sanguine, not that you might have noticed that, which means we'll have fun, but we will do it my way. And for me, learning to be a carer at 2 years old, that balanced me out, because carers are not a carer, a lost child, incredibly lost child. But lost children are flexible. Cholerics are not flexible. It's my way or no way. Okay? So it gave me skills to learn to do that. I just can't stay with all the deficits that it has. The sanguine side, sanguines are fair with their friends. They like everything that's fun, and when people get dreary, they don't want to be around them. So they tend to be what they call fair with friends. So being a carer taught me compassion. So we need these. These are all part of the universal development. There are no mistakes. The only mistake is if you stay in it. Does that make sense? So this is what these drop pins are. You took on a role. You lost it. The little girls that were bossy became nice. Or worse. That. Why, if you had been recognised and told that you had magnificent leadership skills, what would have been the difference then? Yeah. You see, this is it. If we did school based on a child's natural talents, what an amazing world we would have. And it will come. It's already coming, you know. I used to despair for the education process, but I've got one girl who's been with me since she was 16. She's 30 now, and she's a kindergarten teacher. Oh my God, she's amazing. And people come to see the Kristen method because she applies all universal principles within the school. Little kids go, I've got to go and heal that plant, Mummy, not looking well. You know, oh, bless their little socks, and they go, charge up the plant and all sorts of things. It's just beautiful. And these kids are allowed to be who they are. They don't have to conform in lines and whatnot. So it will come eventually. But what I want you to get through your head is get out of this, I have to have positive thinking. I have to be happy. I can give you a lobotomy. You will be endlessly happy. Dribbling at the ball if I give you a lobotomy. So you must learn that the downward spiral that you will go, and there is a cycle of it, yeah? Yeah. It has to be a cycle of it. That's your greatest chance for growth. Now you can sit there in the corner and suck your thumb and go, not fair, or you can write to it and say, what have you got to share with me? And if you use your non-dominant hand for the answer, your brain is busy moving the pen. So therefore you're going to get your subconscious talking to you rather than the idiot spaghetti up here that will tell you all sorts of ridiculous rubbish. And so it's very important you use your non-dominant hand. If you become really adept at it, you'll have to use your toes. I don't know how else to say that. Until such time as you're confident enough in hearing yourself. Does that make sense? Because there's a lot of voices in there, isn't there? Okay? The one that loves you unconditionally will never, ever treat you badly. And that's you. Your job as a practitioner, no matter which way that you're explaining it, is to teach people that strength comes through self-love. Sharing comes through self-love. Giving comes through self-love. Connection and growth and contribution all come through self-love. When you try to do it by loving others, it's because you want their energy. And then, let's face it, guys, who wants to suck on someone else's used up energy? Yes?
Does illness come from when we're in those troughs and we don't listen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, let's get that a bit clear. Some people are born with illnesses, and that's just part of their journey and their witness. My daughter got an illness, part of her journey and her witness, to show how to use courage, to show how to use strength, all the rest of it. You know, I've said she wasn't going to lose her hair when they gave her chemo, and they bring the chemo in an armoured van, and I'm like, what is that? And they said it's nuclear chemo, and I'm like, seriously? And, you know, they said, cut your hair off, darling. And she said, no, I'm not going to lose my hair. That makes belligerent, bless her. And the doctor looks at me, and I went, well, she didn't lose her hair. She was there to witness strength, and when she'd done what she needed to do, she left. You know, sad for me, but great for her. So, and that taught me courage. Everything is a teacher. There is no bad. Every Judas in your life is you want to get at their feet and kiss them. Next person that gives you the shits, give them a big hug and say, I want to thank you. You're my most favourite person on the planet. God bless you. Because it's the Judases that make you have to reach in here. Everyone say, oh, you're lovely. And they're nice. Yes.
So I've got clients as a coach where they have a deficit of self-esteem and self-love, and a couple of them are in that really big trough, and they experience the loneliness. So if the antidote is self-love, which I've elucidated on those sort of ideas before, how do you handle the resistance that's inevitable when they say, I just can't do it, I can't go there, what can I do to do it? And they just don't have the belief systems available to them at that point in time to shift.
How blunt can you be?
How?
Blunt. Fairly good.
Yeah,
What are you getting out of it?
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Yeah.
Part of you.
What are you getting out of this? You know, and does it taste good?
How's it serving?
Yeah, how's it serving you? Because when people don't want to change, it's serving them. They learnt as a child to be sickly or something. That's your control dramas as children, which is first control drama is intimidator, interrogator, aloof, or pour me. So they learned a strategy for getting energy when they were a child. And when they go, God, my lot at the weekend, we put them on the tennis court and we blindfold them. They've got to find their picture. You know, watching the children come out, it's hysterical. They don't know we film them. We just laugh because I hate this guy. Look like this, because they're back in that moment there and they don't want to change. But when they take that step of courage and they go through, they'll find the car every time. So the thing is you can nurture for so long, but eventually you just have to go, you know what, you're getting something out of it. What's it worth to you? And I'm here to help you. Let's look at your intrinsic needs. Get them to tick off a whole lot of needs. How does that feel when it's met? How does it feel when it isn't met? What can you do about it? Because that's what intrinsic needs are, guys. When you need someone to complete you, you're only half a person. You used to say that in marriage ceremony, you're a half a person before. Until I took my daughter to a marriage ceremony when they said that and she was 13, she goes, oh, that's a load of crap, Mum. Yeah, what are you saying? You know, we're in this tiny little church as about as big as this. Peter was a whole person before he met her, and her father's up there and he's the best man, and he's looking at me. And I'm going, and then in the end I leaned over, she was about 13 at the time, and I said, Max, well, it is rubbish, Mum. I said, I know it's rubbish, but they're muggles. Got it, Mum, she says. That's she was brought up in that you're a whole. And your purpose, no matter which way you're doing a modality, as a healer, because that's what you are as healers, is the way to heal is to strengthen through adversity. It's adversity that strengthens you. That little mountaintop thing, that does nothing for you except give you a respite before you're ready for the next big Jumanji adventure. Roll the dice. Move through it fast. So what happens is, over time, you learn to close the gap. And I think Esther Hicks says it so beautifully in closing the gap, because we have depression here, then we have anger, then we have frustration, then we have hope, which I used to think was a Nancy word, but until I looked up what it meant. And then we have belief, and then we have knowing. How many of you know people that know lots? Oh, I know. And their life is really crap, and they keep going, I know. No, they don't know. They have the belief. You can only have a knowing when your brain has registered an action. Yeah. How did you learn hot? Yes, and learned hot, didn't you? We could explain hot till the cows come home. But once you touch it, you go to touch that and say hot, you'll pull back like that. But if you've never touched it, you have no concept of what it means. So this is what's called the gap. And some people can stay here, I stayed there for 28 years. That was a wonderful pity party. Okay, then I probably got into anger for 10 years, let's add to it. And then I was incredibly frustrated. Who's been in that what's it all about, Elfie? Yeah, universe shoved this journey right where it fits. Universe gets that on a regular basis from me. I'm over this, I'm out of here, I go, okay. Then you get to frustration. Frustration, all of these make you move forward because they bring up energy. Now I used to think hope was really wishy-washy because people go, I hope so. We're going to really try, I hope so. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to cut hope out of there. Until I looked up what the word is. The word means expectation. That's an incredible shift in a word, isn't it? Totally changes it. Hope so sort of like limpy, you know, it's like try. Like that. And then we get a belief. A belief is that building up of energy, little red engine. Think I can. And then you get to the top of the mountain and you go, woohoo, done it. And if you get to the top of the mountain and you get good at closing this gap, you can go up and down those mountains really quick, like that. But you will always go up and down the mountain. You have to. There cannot be this endless sunshine.
Isn't that bipolar if you're going up and down all the time?
Oh, Oh, what, you know, there's people in there by all this stuff. How many sanguines in the room? Sanguines are the party animals and naive and talk all the time. Blah, blah, blah. They're all bipolar. Because sanguines have massive highs, because they're dramatic, and incredible lows, and then they say you're bipolar, let's drug it. You know, and that's all flat line through life. The problem is when they drug you, they drug everything. We're ready? Done? Shut up, Rose.
5 minute question.
Yeah. So any questions, guys?
Yeah, how much longer can we have?
Phil, go for it.
So just to check what you're
Yes.
saying, when you're in those dips,
Yeah.
you're saying to write
Write to
with
them,
your non-
write to non-dominant, write to it in your hand from you to the thing, so you're addressing it nicely, and the answer comes back
So you're
from
asking
what's going on here. Yeah. I had a lass from Bosnia caught in the war, in Bosnia, and terrible time in the war, and then she came out here and the war sort of got forgotten, and she was fainting all the time, and had terrible anxiety. And she was a beautician, and you know what little space they have. So she'd get in these little spaces, and then she'd faint. And she was actually my beautician. I thought, oh my God, she's got a brain. She's always forgetting things. She'd say, oh, I just got to run out and get this. But she was going out because she couldn't cope. So when we worked on her, and I said, oh, Bosnian, yeah. So were you there during the war? Oh, yeah, but I was only 9 then. Interesting. And we worked through it. The close quarters was from when they would be in the in the shelters, in the bomb shelters. But getting to the bomb shelters was another story because you had to go down all those big steps, and they'd go past the windows and they'd shoot them as they went down the windows and things like that. And then she got trapped in the car, just went on and on. So she wrote to anxiety, and I don't know what it is about the steps in Russia, but they all are incredibly psychic. And anxiety writes back and it says, anxiety says, I know you're scared of me. I kind of like that. Psycho anxiety. It says, but I'm here to make you dig. Because you hated yourself for a very long time. She had survivor guilt, a whole lot of stuff going on there, like we have with bushfire people, with survivor guilt. And finally, when she got to the bottom, anxiety said, you're doing really, really well. But when I come back, you know you've got some more digging to do. And anxiety is purely unexpressed anger. Bottled up anger, shaking, yeah? People who are anxious, their guts is churning. The reason is they've gone into flight and fright, and they're releasing adrenaline at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Get them to write an angry letter. Okay. Yes, Ross?
I've got a question. Are you saying that if you have an unmet need from childhood,
Yep.
that you have to meet that need at some point?
Yep.
Okay. Because I was trying to reconcile that
Yep.
with what you were saying with
Yep.
me.
Yep.
And so I was trying to, when you asked that question to Faye,
Yes. Yeah.
I was thinking, what was my unmet need in childhood? And I thought independence.
Yep.
So not being able to make my own
Choices?
choices
Yeah.
about when I was in primary school, like
Yeah.
to go and play if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Or things
Yeah,
like
how
that.
dare they keep you in class? Knocking your head up. Yeah.
But that's not something that I really feel like I need, like today.
Independence?
So
Are you independent now?
I'm independent because I've got my own business, but I don't feel like I've never lived on my own, as an example, never,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like I have that need.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm just
Okay.
wondering. I'm
So
trying to
what was
reconcile that.
independence going to meet for you? So independence isn't the need. What was it going to meet for you if you could have done what you wanted to do?
Fun.
Fun. Okay, how do you feel when you don't have fun?
Yeah, I do make sure that that need is met.
Yeah, so you're meeting the need. You
Okay.
don't expect other people to meet it and dance around and make fun for you. You're meeting the need. The need is yours, it's nobody else. You're meeting it, so therefore there's no problem with it.
Okay.
And when you're meeting that need and you're having fun, I bet it's very high vibrational fun.
Yeah.
And you're having a damn good time, yeah?
And that explains why I organise all the fun. In my
Of course it is, because it's so important for you. It's an intrinsic need in you. Okay?
I just had an aha moment. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. Any other questions before we let Nat go home to bed?
She's done well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Could it
Eva.
also be that, say for example with Helen,
Yes.
some of those absolute love and passion, when I've heard her speak about what she loves to do with young adults,
Yeah.
fills her bucket because she's meeting that need for those kids.
Yeah, but sometimes in the knitting we meet, and we have to be very honest in that, what need is it meeting in you at the same time?
It's not me, it's meeting her by meeting them.
And it can become in the end that you wear yourself out in doing that. Do you understand what I mean? Here's a quick example. When I was a young child, very frugal mother, very wealthy family, but sensible mother. Anyone had sensible mother? My mother was incredibly sensible. You only need 2 pairs of undies.
We used to have 3, one on, one off, one in the wash.
Well, we had one on. You were lucky.
I've got a wardrobe of clothes, but Mum always says, you only need 3, one on, one off, one in the wash.
So we had
Sheets, towels,
one on, the other washed, ready for the next day. Hand washed, everything was hand washed in those days. So when I got to high school, that sometimes I forget to wash them. And then you go to school in wet undies. Which is not good on a cold winter morning. So when my Mags came along, my little girl, she had buckets of undies. And I met my fears by playing it out, giving her. This is how children get overindulged. You're giving them everything that you wanted because you're fearful that they're going to miss out. And when she died, there were 97 pairs of undies. Some of them still had the tags on them. And it's going, what's that? But they're lovely undies, Mum. And I used to go psycho when she didn't wear the proper sets, matching sets. So I never got matching sets, So can you see how we play out? Watch what you're playing out. What are your children reflecting back to you? They're the service bearers. They bonded to you to play out your unloved parts. So what you don't like in your children's in you. And you have to go and find what it is and love that about yourself. Yes, Greg?
Do you reckon it's the same that I've picked up from that sort of idea, is that we always inherit our parents' unfinished business?
Absolutely.
It's the same.
Same thing. That you're the service bearer. I've got to let this lovely lady go back to bed.
What children express parents prefer?
That's right.
Yeah, but what
Exactly
happens
right.
if you don't have children?
Then someone else will. You'll have some Judases, let me tell you, lovey. They'll find you.
How awesome is she? Amazing. Has everyone also put, or did the last 2 of you did it? So I'm just going to put your name on them. That's all right.
I didn't put mine. I haven't put anything in it.
Oh, okay. 2 more Stuart for Helen and Claudia. Okay, Linda. Who's done this right? Alia, Mel?
Might be easier. Who has put their name in?
Because this door prize is just so cool. We have 1 hour brainstorm session to create an empowering vision for 2015 with Rosemary valued at 180.
Linda, Claudia, and who else?
Helen.
Helen.
Yeah.
Chuck it for me too.
And Natasha? And Natasha?
Sorry, no.
And Greg? Yes.
Angry? Okay, cool. Just pop it in here. Well, we'll do that at the end.
Yeah, cool, darling.
So what did you guys learn?
Wow. So much.
It's similar to last year. Everyone absorbs it so much, and it makes you think I'm just still processing. I took lots of notes on my iPad.
And that's cool. Look, I always tell my students, I want you to put your coffee pots on your head and just let it drip through. And I said, and you will hear yourself talking it to others. And so if you're going, what was that? I said, it's in your energy fields, it's all there, and it'll come out at the right time. Or maybe the wrong time for the other person. It's just a mere detail, but it's coming.
Let's write down maybe 10 things that were like aha moments. Mine was that absolutely to be grateful for those down times. So be grateful. Be grateful in the pit.
In the pit. I love the pit.
I always thought being at the top was the best place to be.
Yeah. It is right there.
You could write that in a gratitude journal.
Yes, you could. What else?
Intention needs action.
Intention needs action, yeah.
Depression is not an illness.
Depression is not an illness, yeah.
And values are where you put most of your energy and focus.
What was it, Agnes?
your values are where you put your energy and most of your focus. So, for me personally, there have been times when I've had values that aren't congruent, or I've had actions or habits not congruent with what I thought my values were. And it's like, actually that makes sense now.
Values take a lot of sorting, guys. They take a lot of sorting because a lot of the values you take on aren't yours. They're societal values and they're good values, don't kill people.
What about the need?
Uncertainty is the richest time for creation.
Yes, that's a good one. Uncertainty. By the way, if you haven't got this written down, that's why I'm writing them down, because we all have heard something different tonight. Yeah? Is the richest time for creation.
I loved the bit about writing with your non-dominant hand. Immediately my brain started to go, that doesn't make sense.
Then you know you're right. As soon as your brain goes, that doesn't make sense, you're on track.
Okay. No, it's really like
so I didn't quite get that. So it was just about when you want to write to your...
A negative about anything. If your foot is hurting, you write to it. But if you write with your normal writing hand, you're connected to your reasoning mind.
Right.
Okay? When you use your non-dominant hand, the brain is going, oh, that's odd. And all its energy is going into moving that. Then you can access subconscious mind. I just had my class, God, the amazing things that they have come out with just on doing what we call the star practice. And the messages they have got have been phenomenal.
Never get anything written. Never use my non-dominant.
Oh, it takes time.
Grant was here.
Could I say afterwards, please write it out in your dominant hand? Because most of the time it looks like a dog's dinner, and you come back and go, what the hell does that say? But you'll be able to read it straight away.
Yeah, oh, okay.
I'm hearing you were saying...
So you're saying when you do write it out,
when you finished it, rewrite it out straight away.
Rewrite it.
Yeah, so you'll be able to read it.
Okay.
And you were saying you write this letter to the negative emotion,
yes.
And you were saying that, for example, the example you gave of anxiety of that lady, anxiety spoke back to her. So is that her responding?
Look, you are all of these things.
Yeah.
You aren't separate from them. But as humans, we need labels, and we need to be able to put it in it, just as the Egyptians needed lots of gods to understand the atom.
Yes.
So you're all of these things.
Yeah.
But our humanness needs to separate it.
So the realization came through that act of writing that letter.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would suggest, if anyone wants to, is to participate in Rosemary's masterclasses.
I was actually going to ask, but she told me earlier today there was a day event, which is expansion.
This is where you will learn lots of this stuff. I did it last year. I had a year off, and I'll probably go back and do it next year because it is, can I say, effing amazing.
We say that a lot.
Yes, she does actually. And just learning, just all this stuff tonight is reinforcing a lot of things, but it's...
And you can imagine how much deeper you think
Brilliant.
just go into it.
Brilliant.
It's just, yeah. When is this, event?
I did that. I was a good girl. I even printed it out.
Did you?
I'm doing it in January, which I know for some people go, oh, January, but that's your most fertile time.
Yeah.
So Wednesday the 21st of January, it's full day, 9:30, that's full day for me, 9:30. 9:30 to 4:30 p.m. and through it, and it's only 20 people because we're going to be really introspective. You can't do that in big groups. When we do Inner Child, no more than 20 people, so that it will be really introspective. So you'll discover the powerful force of becoming. That's what we want you to do. The power of intention, attention, and action. There's two separate things, intention and attention. Your authentic driver that supports your needs and wants. Create a roadmap for fulfilling your purpose in 2001 and translate that into exponential growth in your business.
Where is it?
It's nowhere at the moment.
Where are we?
Where are we going to do it?
Probably
here. Probably here, yeah. Oh, in Melbourne, yeah, sorry, Don. And it's $145 for the day. So that's there. I was right over it.
She's set up over there. And